What up, y'all? My name is Maestro Stevens with Iconic Templates, and I wanted to do a video on ChatGPT because I keep running into people that I think still don't know the differences between ChatGPT Plus and ChatGPT Free, or the value that you get with either version. You get so much value with both versions or both plans of ChatGPT. However, there is a difference between the Plus version and the free version. Now, we're not going to talk about the Pro version because I don't think that that's in most people who watch this channel's wheelhouse, meaning most of y'all ain't coughing up no $200, $300, $400, $500. You ain't coughing up $100 for this. Let's keep it all the way real. But for the most of us, we will be using the free version or the plus version. So let's get right in it because I got so much to share with you. The features are amazing. So right now, what you are seeing is a side-by-side of ChatGPT Plus on the left side and ChatGPT Free on the right side. Okay, so we have Plus on the left side and we have the Free on the right side. Now, I'm going to do my best to use this new annotation tool because I know folks have been doing a lot of whiteboarding on the fly in their videos, and I'm like, I need to add that flavor to the mix. So bear with me, but we're going to get in it because I'm trying this tool, okay? So right here, we have ChatGPT, and let me just show you some of the sidebar features. Then we'll get into the model picker, and then we'll get into the additional features that you get with the Plus. So here in the sidebar, we have library, we have Codex, we have Sora, we have GPTs, and we have projects. On the free version, we have library, we have Sora, we have GPTs, and we have projects. Now, the interesting part about the GPTs on the free version, even though it shows it here, you cannot create GPTs on the free version. So just keep that in mind. Even though you see it here, don't think that you can create GPTs in the free version. You can create GPTs in the Plus version and above, okay? So that's something that I want to get out the way because most people would be confused. Now, this is something that I think most of y'all, if you are just watching this video and it's around the time that I dropped the video, you have no idea that we now get projects in the free version of ChatGPT. For the longest time, it was only available in the Plus and above. Now you get it in the free. However, the theme I want you to know is anything that you get in the free that you also have in the Pro, you're more limited in the free usage of it, okay? You only have so much usage of the features you get in the free. So I just want you to know that's a concept or a theme or a pattern we're gonna see across the board, all right? So let me erase this so that way we can get it out of the way, get it out of the way, boom. All right. Next, let's look at the model picker. So with the Plus version, we have GPT-5. So that's the latest version of ChatGPT right now. We have Auto, we have Instant, we have Thinking Mini, Thinking, and then we also have the legacy models, which I turned on. But if you did not turn this on, you won't see this by default. And remember, it's legacy models. So that means that anytime this can go away, okay? But for the most part, we have Instant, Thinking, Thinking Mini, and then Thinking. And then when it comes to the free version, we have a upsell for the Plus. And then we also have ChatGPT, which I would say that this is going to use a version of the Auto. And then it kind of gives you some thinking. It will do picking for you. All right. So that's key to know right there. Then on the Plus version, when it comes to adding files or using more features, let me open them both at the same time because I like the fact that these actually stay open versus the model picker does not stay open. Let me open this. Boom, boom. Oh, hold on. Well, all right, damn. So now we can see that, and now I can actually do some annotations here. So here on the Plus version, we have add files, add to Google Drive, right? We have deep research, create image, agent mode, connectors, study, learn, web search, canvas. Now let me highlight the things that we're also gonna see on both sides, okay? So we're also gonna see deep research on this side, besides having the files and add photos. We're gonna be able to create an image on both sides. So you can create an image on the Plus version and the free version. We have study and learn on the Plus version and the free version. And then we also have web search and canvas on both versions. Now, remember I said, even though you see it on both versions, it does not mean you're going to be able to use it as much as you would on the Plus version. That's key. And then you also have more connectors or more connections for Microsoft OneDrive and then SharePoint. So That's something that I want you to see when it comes to clicking the plus button. That is key in terms of, boom. I know it doesn't look pretty, but my mouse hit something real quick. But that is key in terms of what you're going to get on both versions, okay? And then here's another thing that I don't think most people really look at or pay attention to, or even know the difference between these two buttons or features here. This feature right here, that is for text to speech, right? Excuse me. This feature right here is for speech to text. So just keep that in mind. This feature, both of these are for speech to text. No matter on what version you're on, what plan you're on, it's speech to text. It takes whatever you say, it turns it into text. Now, when it comes to this blue button here, this is what we're talking about when it comes to the voice mode. And you can decide whether or not you want to turn on or off the advanced voice mode. But I wanted you to know this is when we're using the voice mode, which is we're talking to the AI and it's talking back to us. It's not just we're talking to it and then we're going to get a typical text or image output or any of these outputs. That's not how this works. This is, at least right now, this is we're talking to it and it's talking back to us, okay? So I wanted you to keep that in mind. Let me get rid of this. Boom, and let's get back into our groove. All right, so there we go. Now let's move forward in terms of some of the settings. I want to hit the settings, and then I'm just going to kind of freestyle it and go from there in terms of what I think where I want to go next. But when it comes to the settings, we're going to click here, and then we're going to click here. So in the settings, you can see we have, if you were to have had a Teams account, you would see it here. Currently, I'm not using Teams because it's not necessary. My team just pays for theirs individually. In the future, I'll use Teams, but I didn't like the way Teams worked in the beginning. It really kind of got on my nerves, and it was a whole mess and hoopla. Hopefully, they fixed it, but the way it was in the beginning, it was a mess. So I ain't using it right now. When it comes to this feature here, personalization, I'm not going to click this, not yet, because it's just going to go to the settings. But for the most part, if I click settings here, you'll be able to get to personalization the same way. I think that just leads to it immediately. As a matter of fact, let's just check. Boom, it does. All right. So when it comes to personalization, settings, let's start off with the general settings. In the settings, we have your theme, your system. So that's, if you want it to be dark mode or light mode. But what I do like, and I thought they only added it to the plus version. So let me get my, let's open this up. The plus version, I didn't know that they were giving the accent color here for both the plus and the free. I said the pro version, right? Let me say the word plus, because I know pro version is going to confuse people. The plus version and the free. I know it's really confusing, but it is what it is. So the accent you get on both, and what that does is when you chat into ChatGPT, your bubble, your chat bubble, is going to be blue, right? That's going to be blue. You may not want that. You may want that. You get to choose the colors you want. So if I click this, I could choose whatever colors I want. I just like blue. Maybe I'll do orange one day. For right now, I'm doing blue, okay? So that's just something to be looking at right there. Now, for the language, they both have language right here. English in English, right? I changed it. You can have it auto pick it. And then we also have the voice picker, and you can choose whether or not. So let me hit that real quick. And then this is where I wanted to really take this channel, because I don't like editing. I like doing things on the fly, but I'd like to do it organized. You feel me? So we going to keep it like that. Now, when it comes to the voice, we have a lot of different options here. Soul, Ember, Vale, that's new. Maple, Spruce, Arbor, Juniper, Breeze, Cove. I believe we have the same thing on here. Maple, no, actually, I didn't see Vale. Yeah, Vale's down here. Now, I would think in the future that they may change how many voices you get with the plus versus the free, but for now, you get both. Now, you can see here, it says show additional models. Now, remember how I told you that I was able to see the legacy models? This is where that comes from. This is how you can see the legacy models in the plus version. So that is a way, if you really like the old versions, that's how you get them back. Some of us don't want to press forward. Some of us are always looking in the past, but it is what it is. All right, let me erase this real quick, and then we're gonna get back to it. Notifications, you can see here, notifications, you get both the push from responses and tasks. It's the same thing. I'm not gonna annotate nothing because they're pretty much exactly the same when it comes to notifications for now. Now, the personalization, this is something that I thought you only got for the plus version. How do I say? more customizable for the plus version versus the free version. That's not true. I've noticed and I learned that you get pretty much the same amount of things for the plus version as you do the free version, which is dope. So we're going to stick on here for a little bit because I think a lot of you all who are afraid to give the AI more information about you, and that's okay. I was the same way, but now I'm a lot more understanding that when it comes to certain privacy concerns and security concerns, I'm gonna show you something that for you free users, you might not have been thinking of. And I think they just updated this, which is great because this was not here before for the free users, but we're gonna get there in a second, okay? In terms of the personalization, it's up to you. But if I were you, I would fill out the custom instructions here and not just by clicking one of these buttons, actually give it the way that you want it to talk to you. So that's why I say, tell me like it is. I like it straight shooter right here. I like you, no sugarcoating responses, take a forward thinking view, give me quick but clever humor when appropriate, right? I like to, but there's times where it won't give me quick answers, and that's because I have thinking turned on. This is just the custom instructions, the way that I like to have it. Some of you all will probably click this button, which will make it easier for you. But as I just mentioned, if I were you, I would fill this out with 1 or 2 sentences. Then you want to give it your nickname, right? And then you want to tell it your occupation. What do you do? Or what are your hobbies, right? Then here's the part where I'm a lot more comfortable where I'm at in my life. And it's not that, you know, we're any different or I'm any more special. I'm just a little bit more comfortable where I'm at in my life. So I'm okay with sharing information like this with the public and with ChatGPT. Am I giving it my social security number? No. Am I giving it my credit score here? Not here. Now I will give it in the project, but will I give it like private information? No. I'm okay with sharing this information about it because I believe the more information that I give it, the more context I give it, the better it's going to be tailored to my personal needs as well as my business needs. So that's why I'm just being honest with you all, because I know some of you are probably like, oh my God, why is he sharing this information? Or, you know, now we know this about him. I'm okay with that. And it's really all about where you are in your life. A lot of you all just think this is just business. No, some of this has to do with your mental state of mind, right? Or sometimes it is a privacy concern and you don't want to give it this information because there's things that you don't want out there in the public, or, you know, you're just concerned that the AI might do something nefarious with it. If I were you, I'd be okay with that too. I want you to understand it's okay to be on both sides of the track, but just know it's also okay to be a little bit more transparent because they are a lot more aware of those security concerns, okay? So from there, I would say, again, fill out this more about you. And here's the thing, you get it in the free version as well too. This is the part that blew my mind because I didn't know that you get as much detail in the free as you do the pro. So all I had to do was copy from, I said the pro, didn't I? The plus as you do the free. So all I did was copy from my plus version over here to the free, just so I can show you all in this demonstration. Now, if I scroll down here, you can see in the memory section, oops, we going ahead of ourselves. In the memory section, we have reference save memories and we have reference chat history here in the plus version. And we also over here, we have reference save memories and reference chat. If I were you, I would toggle this on. This is just going to give you more tailored made responses to your prompts. If you all like having more of a general type of prompt process and workflow, that's okay. There's no judgment. It's up to you. If you want something more personal assistant, the AI knows more about you without you having to keep repeating yourselves and telling it these certain specifications or certain things to think about. This is where that kind of feature comes in. So not only can you do that in the customization in terms of saying, this is who I am, this is more about me. Again, you see, I'm telling it where I was born. When I was born, I should have said where I was born. I'll add that right quick. Let me add that right quick. So let me say I was born in San Antonio. I hope that spells it right. If it didn't, I don't care. So this is where you want to save it so it remembers it. The reason why I'm saying I tell it the year and not my age, because at any moment in time, if my birthday changes, to the next year, if I keep this the same, it's still going to know how old I am because it's smart enough to know the exact date and time at that time period. That's a lot of times, isn't it? So that's something that I want you to think about. That's why I said the year I was born, and then my heritage, my race, where I was born, my location, my personal situation, where I currently live, what I like to do, my company, and then any conditions, medical conditions. What a lot of you all don't understand is ChatGPT can be a very good medical companion. I'm not saying it's going to be your doctor or your nurse, but it has helped me and friends of mine when we were having medical issues and we didn't have the time or we didn't have the ability to get to a doctor ASAP, and it was able to give us some advice, some guidance, even some calmness to our situation. It wasn't just me. I'm telling you, there are people out there that it's happened to. So that's why I'm saying it's okay to give it some information. I'm not saying you got to give it all the details, but give it some things. And then when you blend that with reference saved memories and reference chat history, you have a bad mamma jamma. I'm dead serious. Let's give an air horn for that bad mamma jamma. You get a bad mamma jamma right there, because now you have context about who you are. And then every time you write prompts, and the more prompts you write, the more it can reference certain memories. So you can manage your memories right here. Right now, I don't have any. But even if I don't, just because I don't have any, does not mean that it's not using other chat history. So it's able to look at other chats and use the chats as context to say, oh, you were doing that over here? Okay, let's add that into the thing that you're saying you're doing now that's related to the thing that you said you were doing over here. It's like magic, and it's wonderful. So if I were you, I would keep those toggled on unless there's a specific reason why you don't need them. Same thing with record mode. When you use ChatGPT to do notes, you can do that with the app. I don't think you can do that in the browser version yet, but you can do that with the app. And then when it comes to advanced mode right here, you get the same thing on both sides. If I were you, I would have web search toggled on, code toggled on, canvas toggled on, advanced voice toggled on if you like the new version of it. Some people prefer the old version. I like the new version, but it's your noodle soup. So that's what I would look at. There's a reason why I stayed so long on this section, because this is probably the top 3 features or areas where you need to not ignore. You need to customize it, fill it out to your discretion, how you want to, but fill it out. And I'm telling you, it takes ChatGPT to the next level. There is no other AI tool as popular as ChatGPT that gives you this level of feature customization. And you can see in the free version, it does the same. Now let's go to connectors. This is my second favorite ability. It might be my first. I don't know. I'm still trying to weigh in, because this for me was gold. I've been doing automations for a very long time. If you look at any of my content years ago, you'll see the fact that I've been doing automations with Zapier and Make and something that was used to be called Short Triggers, but now it's called AutoKit. And I just got into N8N about, we'll say 6 to 7 months ago. And N8N has become my favorite go-to automation tool. It's a little bit more complex than a Zapier or AutoKit, but when I say it's worth it, it's worth it. The point I'm trying to share with you here is with the plus version, this is where the difference really comes in, okay? So let me show you in terms of what you can see. I don't need to really show you. You can see in terms of what I mean. On the free version, all you get is the Google Drive upload docs sheets. You don't talk to Google Drive. You get to upload to Google Drive. People get that confused all the time. They look at this and they think that I can talk to my Google Drive like I could on the plus version. That's not it. On the plus version, you get a lot more. You get chat, deep research, agent mode, which I'll show you in a second, and file uploads. Whereas here, you only get really the file uploads on the free version versus the plus version. So that's something to keep in mind, okay? I want you to know that's something to keep in mind. The other things too, I'm gonna add these here too, boom and boom. You get Gmail, chat, deep research, and agent mode. You also get Google Calendar, chat, deep research, and agent mode. That is huge. Again, you don't get this on the free version. You only get the file uploads for Google Drive or for OneDrive for Microsoft, okay? And that's something to bear in mind when you're using the free version. Because of that alone, I can't really call it an agent, we'll say, because right now, the one thing I want you to know is these are beyond chatbots. These are becoming agents. They're not autonomous agents, meaning you can't just do anything and everything with them, but they are agent-like, or they have agentic features. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is because, yes, you do get agentic features in the free version, not necessarily through this, but through let me close this out real quick. Boom. All right. So you do get the agentic-like feature when you use deep research or think longer. That is agentic. Even create an image, that's agentic, okay? It's there. However, it is not on the same level. If this is agentic on this side, well, on the plus version, this is agentic on steroids. Because the fact that I have been able to connect Zapier, AutoKit, and N8N, which are automation tools in themselves. Let me show you what I mean by that. So if I click into N8N, we can see that I have a MCP server connected. Now, this is not a video to explain everything about MCP, but let's just say it's USB-C for AI, okay? It's USB-C for AI. You have a MCP server, it's like USB-C. It gives you the ability to connect your AI to other apps, which is beautiful. And so if I click this manage here, I can disconnect or I can delete. Now, in this situation, let's see AutoKit. Well, let's go to Zapier. Zapier is really popular. Actually, I want you all to see all the tools. I have to click the manage here. Nope. For some reason, now here's the thing. I'm glad that you just saw this because this wasn't a problem before, but they did upgrade this to make this a toggle. If I scroll down here, you'll see advanced settings. In advanced settings, if I click this developer mode, so in developer mode here, you see how I just clicked this toggle? Now you're going to see that I'm able to see all the actions that came from those connectors, those automation tools. So let me go back here, bam, and then I'm going to go back to my connectors. And well, let me get out of here so you can see what it looks like. When you click developer mode, they added this yellow around it. So now you can, or orange, you can call it orange, I guess. They added this orange line around it. So that way, you know, you're in developer mode, as well as it will say memory is not used for the chat. So remember in the personalization, we had memory. When you're in developer mode, memory is not used for that. So just keep that in mind. Okay. So let me go back to settings here and same thing here. I'm gonna go back to settings here and let's go back to connectors. And now that I'm in developer mode, you can see I have the actions. That's why I'm glad that I was making that mistake, because I'm sure one of you all, if not a lot of you all, would have or have already made this mistake, because it can get confusing and they may change it again in the future. But for now, this is what it's like. So now you can see the actions that I have connected to my MCP server that I'm using via the automation tool N8N. Okay, so let me go back here. And then you can see with AutoKit, it's another automation tool, okay? With AutoKit, same thing. Now you can see all the actions that I have. Now with AutoKit, I have a lot more actions set up, like Zoom meeting type actions. When I say actions, and I'm specifically talking about with AI, I'm talking about it having the ability to do things on your behalf with the apps that you use every day, like Zoom, YouTube. You see how I have different YouTube, and you have to, in each one of these, it's its own action. This one is a write action. It can literally write, meaning it can do things on my behalf. A lot of people get confused because they think that some of the connectors that they're using with the AI can do the writing or the editing, which really it's doing the reading. It's not doing the writing. It's able to read and then give you information based on what it read. In this situation, it's able to actually do things, take actions on my behalf, like write or edit or modify. So that's YouTube right there. We also have Google Meet right here. We have Google Drive right here. So, and then what else we have? We have ClickUp right here. These are just apps that I use with my business or I use just in general. And I've connected these apps. We have Calendly. I'm sure some of you all have heard of some of these apps, right? Then we have Gmail. Now, why would I add Gmail here when I already have Gmail? Let me scroll all the way up here. Via the native ChatGPT integration, because you see there's a Gmail here. It can chat, it can do deep research, and it can do agent mode. The reason why I have Gmail, I have Google Calendar, and Google Drive inside the automation is because inside of the automation, I get way more customization of the actions that I want it to do. Whereas ChatGPT, I have to use the agent mode in order to really use Gmail in the terms of it writing an email for me, it deleting an email for me, it updating or creating a draft for me. You got to use this agent mode for now in order to do that. When I have it inside of the automation tool, right? When I'm using it inside of the automation tool and I've connected that to ChatGPT, I have way more flexibility and way more action. So let me go to Zapier because it's the same thing as AutoKit for the most part. It's just a different tool. But look at this. let me go back to Google Sheets. So now I'm using Google Sheets, right? Look at all these different actions with Google Sheets. I'm not gonna go over every single one, but look with Gmail, add label, archive, delete, create draft reply, create label, send email, remove label. There's just so many different actions. Google Calendar, same thing. Right here, Google Docs, right here, YouTube. So as you can see, I have the ability to use my ChatGPT to take action on my behalf. Not just read the files from the tools, but to take action. Come on, y'all. You can't tell me this is not a personal assistant at this point, right? I mean, it can really be a personal assistant, because wouldn't that be the same thing you would do for somebody who worked with you or for you? Wouldn't you give them access to your tools so they can do the things that you need them to do? Now the AI can do it for you, okay? So hopefully you understand why this is such a powerful feature they did not have before. I will say, I'm gonna give you a caveat, even though I know this is about ChatGPT. Right now, ChatGPT is not as strong as Claude. If you haven't heard of Claude, you should probably look it up. But it's not as strong as its competitor Claude when it comes to tool usage. And these are tools right here. And that's because Claude has a better model when it comes to using tools than ChatGPT, even though ChatGPT is slowly catching up. It's getting there, but it's not as good as Claude in terms of tool usage. However, you get way more usage out of ChatGPT in general. Okay, you get way more bang for your buck in terms of the mileage, how much you can use the tool. So I just want to let you know that some people don't know that, but I'm just giving you a gem. So I have N8N, AutoKit, Zapier. If I were you and I'm not a developer and I'm just getting into things and I don't want to be too complex, I would use one of these two, Zapier or AutoKit, and practice with that. Okay, and in order to do so, I have another video that shows you, but real quick, you would get a server URL from Zapier or AutoKit. You would paste that here. You would name the tool. You can add an icon if you want to. You would say you trust the application, hit create, and then that's how you would get to where I have right now. It would then bring up the actions that you can do, right? And anytime you add new actions in your tool, you would click refresh. And again, I'll add that in the description below. I showed you how to do that in another video, so I don't want to get too deep into it right now. So that is connectors. And then for those of you all who do have these other native connectors, you can also connect these native connectors as well too. As you see, you don't see that when it comes to the free version of ChatGPT. So that's huge. Now, another thing you get in the plus version of ChatGPT that I just started using about a month or two ago and taking advantage of it is schedules. I did not know how powerful tasks and scheduling is in ChatGPT. It is so powerful. Now, I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to make another video for this, but you can see in the plus version, in the free version, excuse me, we don't have a way to do that. So that's something for you to keep in mind, is we don't have a way to actually make task or schedule things in this version. So that's huge right there. Let me delete this real quick. Bam. And that's why I think the plus version is definitely worth the bang for the buck for the $20 from the not from the personalization, excuse me, from the connectors and the scheduling, besides the model picker. That is huge. The connectors and the scheduling and the ability for you to turn this into your actual personal assistant. I cannot wait to when they actually have a seamless integration between the connectors and the schedule, meaning I can schedule things to happen and it hits my Zapier or my AutoKit or my N8N, and that will touch my Calendly, my ClickUp, my Google Sheets, Google Docs. I mean, you name it, whatever it is, the schedule will then do that at a certain time, date. That will be so dope right there. But for now, we ain't got that. All right. So we just gonna keep it moving and grooving. Okay. When it comes to data controls, we have pretty much the same thing on both sides here. So let's erase this real quick. Boom, boom. All right. We have improved the model for everyone. Now, this is, I'm going to stick here for a second because a lot of you all don't know. A lot of you all have no idea. This is huge. They just changed this. I don't know how long ago, but they changed this because the free version never gave you the ability to turn this off, right? That was the price you paid for getting the free version. You are the product, okay? You are the product. And in this situation, Now, a lot of you all should feel a lot more comfortable when putting certain information. I'm not saying your social security number, but you know how I just showed you, I gave it a lot more context when it came to my personal life and my business. This right here should help a lot of you all make a decision in terms of just using ChatGPT in general. Not using the plus or the free, but just using ChatGPT in general and filling out that personalization feature. Because when you tie that personalization, customization with this toggle to turn this off so it's not training their model on your information, that is powerful. So you see, I have it off for both free and the plus. Huge, huge, huge. Now we have remove browser data only for the actual plus version. So right now, if I click this, I can toggle this on and off for it remembering information and sessions between sites when I'm using the agent mode. That's the main thing that it's for. And you all do not get that because you don't have agent mode if you're using the free version. If you're using the plus version, you all get that. If you're using the free version, you don't get that, okay? So that's data controls. Security here, we have multi-factor authentication on both sides, right? On both sides. We have logout devices. This is not really important, but we have it on both sides. And then right now I'm using, well, we'll get to that in a second, but we have these features here, Apple Intelligence, and then we have Codex as well too. When it comes to the plus version, I don't believe you get that with the free version. Well, actually you can connect it to Apple Intelligence if I'm not mistaken with the free version, but don't quote me on that. I'll double check with y'all later. So I'm sure somebody gonna put it in the comments. Yeah, and put it in the comments. So far, if you're finding value out of the video, you know what to do. Give me a thumbs up, man. Hit that like button for real. And let me know what you think in the comments as well too, all right? All right, now let me get to account. This is nothing special, but for the most part, you're gonna see the features that you get with Plus, and here you're gonna see the features that you get with Plus. So they're trying to upsell you. They want you to upgrade on both sides. But that's what I wanted to share with you all when it comes to the settings of the plus version versus the free version of ChatGPT. Now, let me click this button so you can see what the plus version looks like in terms of the connectors. So if I go here, because I have on developer mode, you can see I can add the sources of the Zapier, of the AutoKit, of the NAN. Now, would I have all these toggled on at the same time? Probably not, especially if there's a lot of redundancy involved. But I like to have fail safes. I like to have backups. And there may be a reason why I might want to use N8N over AutoKit or AutoKit over N8N, you know, or there's times where I'll use a Zapier. And usually I use the Zapier because they give you a lot of usage for the free plan for the MCP. And it's just good practice. Zapier was the first one to have to have the native integration when it came to Claude. And they have a really good integration with ChatGPT. So that's why I have Zapier here, because a lot of you all know it. Some of y'all may say Zapier, it is what it is, blah, 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 right? But that is cool when it comes to developer mode right there. And then in terms of anything else, let me get out of here. So let's go, let me turn off developer mode, say that 3 times fast. Connectors here, toggle this off, bam. And then now we're back here. Then it says use connectors. So notice when I had developer mode on, it said developer mode, right? Now it says use connectors. And when I'm using the connectors, I'm able to now see here Gmail, Google Calendar, Canva, Google Drive. And if you are using contacts and Box and more, you can use those. But notice how it has auto here, right? It doesn't give me a toggle when it comes to Gmail and Google Calendar. That's because if you type in Gmail or Google Calendar, it will auto use it in terms of, now let me show you real quick. Let's see if I can erase this first. So in terms of connectors here, I've noticed if you type in Gmail, it's going to turn blue. Well, nope, it didn't turn blue. Usually it turns blue. Nope, no blue. Okay, all right. Let's turn off connectors. Let's see if it does it here, Gmail. Nope, all right. Let's see if it does it on agent mode. Normally it does it on agent mode. See? All right, so there you go. And this is what the interesting part is. I want you to know that a lot of the things I'm sharing with you all, I use it in my everyday usage, but I'm always learning, right? I'm always learning, and I'm always trying to see what is the difference between one or the other. So this channel is really a lot of exploration as well as demonstration, you know, and just I want to show you all just transparently what I'm doing and how I'm actually using it in the real world. But that was something interesting because I'm still used to using agent mode. And remember how I said that the browser, that one browser feature, let me go back here and then go to, I believe it's data controls, remote browser data. That is with that agent mode right here. But with agent mode, you can see if I type in, let's see if I do Google Drive, will it turn blue? Yep. So it turns blue when you use agent mode, which is kind of interesting that it doesn't do that when you use deep research. Google Drive. Okay, deep research, it does do it. Okay. Let's see if it does Gmail. Okay, so I'm guessing with research and with agent mode, it'll highlight blue. But when the connectors, nope, it doesn't do it. Which is okay, because it doesn't mean that it's not going to know not to use Gmail. I'm just letting you know that, yeah, it turns blue in the agent mode and for the deep research. But when it comes to the connectors, it doesn't need to turn blue. It's just going to auto do what you need to do, right? It's search automatically, which is interesting. Now with Canva, you have to toggle on and off. And with Google Drive, you have to toggle on and off. With these two, it's automatic searching. So with the projects, you get multiple projects, I think unlimited with the plus. With the free version, it's limited projects that you can create. But if I were you, I would create these projects because the projects are so valuable. For instance, I have a project here that is my company, the Iconic Expressions. And then I have Iconic Templates, right? This is the platform. And I have a project for each of these because they are different brands. Even though this is the agency and this is the umbrella of everything, this is the actual platform, and this is where I help people like yourself learn how to do a lot of these things that I do for my agency and my clients. That's something that's called compartmentalizing. Compartmentalizing ideas, concepts, brands, companies. And you can see here, I have a folder for something else. Now, this is an app that we're creating underneath Iconic Templates. And then I have a program, or we'll call it a framework. AI is Air. That's a framework that I'm putting under Iconic Templates. It has its own project folder because I'm compartmentalizing the idea. Now, the cool part when you compartmentalize your idea or you compartmentalize just anything, the reason I'm saying compartmentalize is because you want to put it in its own siloed area. If you go here to new chat, this is not a siloed area. Now, the beautiful thing is even when you're in this new chat, remember, because we have the personalization turned on, it still knows about you. It can still reference old chats, which is beautiful. But the next level of that is compartmentalizing an idea, using the idea to create different files or to add different files to it, even instructions. You have custom instructions right here that you can add to it. I haven't filled this out right now, but I have added my business model and other context right here. It only has one file, but for instance, for my company, I have 6 files. For the app, I have 5 files. For clients or for different projects that I'm doing, I might have all 20 files. It just depends on the situation. But you can add as many files as it would allow you to do. And then you can also add the deep research on top of that. You can add the agent mode on top of that. And then you can add your different apps, the connectors on top of that. Y'all, when I say this is crazy, I mean, this is crazy. You can't tell me this is not valuable right here. So not only do we have files, right? We have files, like you see, I have a business model. This is my business model. And then we also have instructions we can add. We can tell it what to do. We can also add connections to our Google Drive or our Dropbox, to our storage, to our Gmail, to our calendar, to our design application. That's what Canva basically is. And it's a lot more. We can also turn on the web, right? And it can do all this stuff at the same time within its own project, within its own compartmentalized department. These can be departments you can make. I mean, it gets deep. And so when you look at the projects when it comes to here, you can also add when I say here, I mean the free version. You can also add images. You can add the web to it. You can add Canvas. And then you can have your OneDrive, right? Or you can add a Google Drive. But it's not the same thing, y'all. You see that there is no agent mode here, and there is no deep research. You can use deep research in the normal version, right? The standard version of ChatGPT free, right here, deep research, but you cannot add deep research to a project. Nope, there is no deep research. And as you can see here, I have agent here, and I have deep research here. Not only that, the cool part that just came out, I'm going to click out of here. If I go to ChatGPT 5 thinking, I can now give we'll say set a thinking time. They're using the word thinking time. I was gonna say parameter, but I can say I want the speed. What is the balance of the thinking, right? Or do I want it to think longer? So do I want it to be standard or do I want it to be extended? And I can say I want this and I want to add this with the files, with the instructions right here. That is so powerful. Now, you cannot do this in terms of adding it with deep research. It doesn't work like that. You have to make a choice. Do you want deep thinking or do you want research? Same thing with agent mode. Notice how the toggle changes or switches here. With agent mode, you have to decide, do I want the agent mode or do I want to turn on the normal one, right? So I can turn this off and then it goes back to thinking. That is one of the craziest things I would say. I would say when you combine everything together that you've done, that's probably one of the craziest things in terms of ChatGPT capabilities between the two, is when you are making that project. Custom GPTs, I believe, don't have the same value as projects. I like projects because you get the same chat thread, so you're adding all your chats to one area, whereas custom GPT, every time you need to make a new chat with the GPT, every time you make a GPT, you got to make new chats. You can't have all these different chats underneath that one GPT. You have to go to basically that GPT and it makes a new chat, or you have to stay in that one thread of that chat, and that will bog down, over time. It's going to say, hey, this thread is too long. You have to start a new GPT, or you have to start a new chat. And that's the beautiful part about projects, is that you have all your chats that pull from the same information. Man, we are on a next level when it comes to this AI. And this is just ChatGPT. Last but not least, let me show you real quick, because this is something that I forgot to show you in terms of the plus version versus the free version. With ChatGPT Plus, you get what is called Codex and Sora. With the free version, you get Sora. So let me click these buttons here. So with Sora, we have here, click there, and let's click here. Now, remember how I said that with the plus versus the free version, this is crazy work here. What people are putting here. Wow, okay. I see where we at right now. But either way, it's so funny that you can just see where the mentality of the world is, or the mentality of people is just by looking at. And this is not my stuff. This is not curated specifically for me, as far as I know, because I don't even use this for the most part. I do a lot of my images right in ChatGPT. But this is here. If you are paying for ChatGPT or you're not paying for it, you get the ability to create images and videos with Sora. So you can see here when it comes to the plus version here, I'm on image down here, and right here we see image, and then let me click here. You see image and video. We see the different aspect ratios. We get the choice of the different versions, 1 or 2. We have some presets here. And then on the free version, we get the choice of image and video. We get the aspect ratio, but and then we also get to choose between 1 or 2 images, and then we get presets. So you see, we get similar features, but I think that the mileage of how much you get to use this is going to vary between the plus and the pro version. I mean, the plus and the free version, meaning you're going to get more out of the plus than you do the free version. Now, when it comes to the video, let me click here in the video version. You can see we get the aspect ratio again, right here and right here. And then with the plus version, you get to change the resolution from 480 to 720 on the plus version. And then on the free version, you only get 480. Then when it comes to the duration, you only get 5 seconds on the free version. And on the plus version, you get to go up to 10 seconds. Then you get 4 variations with the plus version right here with the video of Sora. And then you only get 2 video variations automatically. You can't choose between 1 or 4 when it comes to the free version. And then you also get presets as well too on both, right? And then you get storyboard, this feature called storyboard on both. So that's what you get for the ChatGPT Plus and the free version, which is really dope, okay? Now, The biggest difference between what you get from the plus and the free in terms of one more feature or one more, I won't even call this a feature, it's its own platform or capability, is Codex. There is no Codex here in ChatGPT free. And this is something that I'm looking to learn more about myself. I've been playing around with it and I didn't take advantage of it because I didn't know how powerful it was. But now I understand how powerful it is. This right here, I mean, it's going to be the future of how I prototype and develop apps, especially when I finally learn this. But for the most part, I'm gonna just make it simple and make a different video about this because again, I'm still just learning this. But for the most part, this is your ability. Well, here, I'm gonna click the docs. Let's just do this. I'm gonna open this in a new tab because I want you to know exactly what it is without me trying to explain it to you. So Codex is OpenAI's coding agent that can read, modify, and run code. That's basically what it can do, is it can read, modify, and run code. And that's what this is about. That's all that it does. And the best part about this is if you are a person who uses something like a GitHub, which is a code, it's code for the cloud. So it's a way that you can host your code in the cloud. It's a very popular tool. I know some of you all know about it that's watching this, some of y'all who don't. So I'll give you an example. This is my GitHub repository or this is my GitHub account, and here are my repos. So basically, this is a way that I can push this code to a cloud area, right? A cloud place. I'm just calling it a cloud place. I know some of you are like, he is butchering what GitHub is, to an area in the cloud. And then I can then connect other tools and other apps to read that code, right? And I can also use this code to make my website go live. There's way more to it, right? Way more to it. But this to me is so dope because this is why it's so dope. When you are connecting this to GitHub, and then you can also connect this to your IDE, it's an integrated development environment. Let's see, right here, if you click here, it says use VS Code, Cursor, or Windsurf. Right now I'm practicing with Windsurf because VS Code and Cursor is way too complex for me, so I'm trying Windsurf. You can then do more of your development inside a different environment, and you can push this to that environment and vice versa. I mean, I don't even want to get into it. It's crazy, y'all. And this is another thing. I was running multiple of these tasks at the same time. So let's like, I know this is a long video, but I like making long videos because then I can break them up to clips later, and then you guys can find the whole long version later. But I like making long videos because, you know, I love educating, and I got something to say. But for the most part, let's do a practice run. I'm gonna say, let's see, write or create and let's say event app for modern event planning. And you can say either ask or code. Right now I'm having it ask, and it just created this task. Now I can say create a event planning landing page. Boom. And I'm going to say code. The crazy part about this is it runs in the background. Then I can say create a modern looking event. I'm just making this up on the fly. I didn't even think about none of this before I was doing it. I was just like, I got to show y'all because this is crazy for me. A modern looking event. I said a landing page, app for planning, and maybe a roadmap creator. A modern looking event roadmap creator, right? And then I say code. Now you obviously want to add way more context. I'm doing it lazy. But I want you all to see this. Look at this. And I can click inside of this and click out of it, and it keeps going. It doesn't bother it. That's one thing that is different between ChatGPT and I believe these other apps. I can't be specific, but I did notice that not only can the AI agent mode run in the background and deep research run in the background, so can So let's just go back here, and I'm just gonna copy this, right? Now ChatGPT made it where everything runs in the background. What do I mean by that? I just gave it something. You remember how you used to be scared where if you did this and then you would go somewhere else and then you'd be like, oh my God, it's lost. No, it ain't. It runs in the background. Look at this. This is crazy. These are running in the background. Now watch this. Now I can say I can go here. Well, matter of fact, let me go back here. Oh no, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna go here and say create a event research report. Event planning research report. Then I'm gonna say deep research. And then obviously it's gonna ask me all these questions and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. I'm just gonna say just do it. Now that's running in the background. You see where I'm getting at here? This is crazy. I'm turning all these things on. Look at all the major events happening and create a spreadsheet. I should say events happening in my area and create a spreadsheet of them. And technically, I could be having it do stuff like actually looking at my email, Gmail, but I don't want to do all that. Especially and then create a new project or new design in Canva with the information. Let it run. There we go. So now it's going to set up its desktop. This is searching. This agent is doing one thing. Is this done? Testing, not run, read only QA. Okay, so this was an area where it was like a checkpoint. So I click the button, right? This is what's cool. View task, and then it takes me to the new task. Look. What? Isn't this crazy? I can have. All right. We done. I'm just letting y'all know this is where it blew my mind that I can have all this happening. I can be building out a website using Codex, do all this crazy stuff, right? Wow. I have a research report happening. Wow, I have an agent. This is next level, you all. This is next level, all right? So that's the last piece I wanted to show you right there. Again, I'm still exploring it, but I promise you in the near future, I'm gonna have some really cool things to show you all that I actually did in real life. I put it to real use. Real users used it, or real people engaged with it, or I used it in a real project. And it's not fairy tale, it's not theory, it's not probability. No, it's happening now, today. Man, we are on a next level when it comes to this AI. And this is just ChatGPT. There are so many other AI tools that can do so much more, but when it comes to ChatGPT, I think a lot of you all don't understand the value you get. In my opinion, I think they are the best bang for the buck for the general public. Not for everybody, but for the general public. I'm subscribed to all of the tools, or the core 4. I shouldn't say all of them. I'm subscribed to the core 4, which is ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity. I call that the core 4. I have them all because they have their own specialties. But if you had to just choose one right now, I think ChatGPT pretty much has the feature game locked in terms of, and they even got the model game in their back pocket too, because ChatGPT 5 is doing its thing right now. But like every tool and every technology, somebody's gonna one up it, and then we're gonna be looking at the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. I wanted to show you all what you can do with ChatGPT Plus version and the free version and the differences between the two. Make sure you get that locked in. My name is Maestro Stevens with Iconic Templates, and I'm out. Peace.